A very good morning, student. Today we will learn about the Viva on radius bone. What are the important questions which an examiner can ask on the radius? Okay. So if he gives you a radius in the Viva, then the first question may be that what is this bone or the identification of this bone. You can very well say that I have read that this upper end of the radius is disc-shaped. It has a neck and a tuberosity on the medial side. The lower end is expanded, which is smooth on anterior surface, but it is quite rough onto the posterior surface. And the interosseous border always face medially because the other bone which articulates with the radius medially is that of the ulna. So this border is facing medially to give attachment to the interosseous membrane which extend from radius to that of the ulna, and that is the reason why I am saying that this is a radius bone. Then he will ask you how you will determine whether it belongs to right side or to left side. For determination of the bone, you should see that this disc-shaped head should face upward. The tuberosity, which is here just below the neck, should face medially. Similarly, the interosseous border, which is a sharp border, it should also face medially, and the lower end, the smooth surface, should face anteriorly. If you will turn and see the posterior surface of the lower end, you will see that it is very rough. So by keeping the bone in this way that the head is facing upward, tuberosity and interosseous border, they are facing medially, and the anterior smooth surface at the lower end is facing anteriorly, then you can determine the side. For example, this bone belongs to that of the right side. Okay, it belongs to that of the right side. Never keep the bone like that. Otherwise, the posterior rough surface should not be seen anteriorly. It should be always facing posteriorly. Then he can ask anatomical position, and the anatomical position of the radius is very easy. When you are standing in anatomical position, the radius is vertically placed in your body on the lateral side of the ulna. Okay, so it is a vertical, but care should be taken that when he is asking you about the anatomical position of the radius, you should hold the bone vertically, but if it is of right side, hold the bone in the right hand, and if it is of the left side, hold the bone into the left side. Then sometime examiner may ask you, give the names of the bone which will articulate with the radius. At its upper end, the radius, the superior surface of the disc of the radius will articulate with the rounded capitulum of the humerus. This rim of the head will articulate on its medial side with that of the radial notch of the ulna, where it will form the superior radio-ulnar joint. So the head is having two different joints, a articulation with the humerus and another articulation is the superior radio-ulnar joint. Then you can say that this interosseous membrane will form the intermediate radio-ulnar joint, while this notch, this is the ulnar notch of the radius, will articulate with the head of the radius to form the inferior radio-ulnar joint. But then you should not forget the articulation which are on the inferior surface of the radius. On the lateral side, it articulates with the scaphoid. On the medial side, it will articulate with the lunate bone to form the wrist joint. So many bones will articulate with that of the radius. Now, then he may ask you about the bony feature. You may show him the tuberosity, the rim of the head, the neck, and you may show at the lower end, which is a rough area, a dorsal tubercle. Then you may show him the bony feature. On the lateral surface, there is a rough area which is for the insertion of pronator teres, and the medial side it is the that is the medial border, which is the sharp interosseous border. Then he may ask you quickly about the borders and surface of the shaft. This is the anterior border, then there is a posterior border, and both these borders they extend from that of the radial tuberosity, and then there is an interosseous or medial border is there. Thus surfaces will be an anterior surface, a lateral surface, and a posterior surface, like that. He can ask like that. He may ask some attachment. Usually attachment which is asked in radius is that of the supinator muscle, which is attached anteriorly, laterally, and posteriorly in the neck and the part of the upper part of the shaft. Okay, that is an important attachment which is usually asked. Then he may ask about its direct relationship with the blood vessel or the nerve. One of the most important relation of the artery, that is radial artery, lies in front of the anterior surface of the lower end, where we usually by pressing the radial artery against the lower end of radius feel the pulsation, okay, of the radial artery. He may ask about the most important applied importance, and that is that the bone usually get fractured at the lower end, and this leads to a deformity in the hand called as the dinner fork deformity. Okay, so that is the Colles fracture. Okay, the lower end of the radius will show you the Colles fracture. Then he may ask you about the ossification, and in ossification you say that this the lower end for the primary center appears at the about 1 year of age after birth, okay, or the first year, within the first year, and then secondary center for that of the upper end it appears around 5 to 6 years of age. The lower end unite with that of the shaft, okay, at the age of 18 years, while that of the upper end unites by 16 to 17 years. Thus he can ask you which is the lower end of the, which is the growing end of this bone. So the lower end is naturally growing end, because the lower end it appeared first, okay, in the first year of age of a child, and then it united at the age of 18 years. Okay, so these are some of the important questions which may be asked in for that of the radius. Thank you very much for watching this video.